Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरोर्वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are continuing with our Chaitanya Charitamrita sessions. We are reading from Antya Lila, 4th chapter. Today, verse 171 onwards. So we know that how Mahaprabhu, and we had a beautiful relationship between Sanatana Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then the last series is how Sanatana Goswami apparently is telling Mahaprabhu that you have more affection for Jagadananda Pandit because you call him Jaga, you chastise him, but you treat me as a little. See, sometimes people who are very affectionate or very close to us, we take that liberty to scold them, kind of. But you are not scolding me, you are treating me very respectfully. So that means I am not very close to you. Kind of, he expressed it like that, but he says that you are the supreme independent Lord, you can choose what you want to do. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is kind of pacifying is even when we are very close also with different people, based on a different nature or whatever, we deal with them differently. So like for that concern, Jagadanand Pandit is like a young boy. So I treat him, I call him Jaga, and I kind of chastise him. But for the kind of nature and kind of age or whatever, we treat respectfully even if we are very close. That is what Mahaprabhu explains like that very sweetly. So we'll continue with 171 devotees. You can raise your hands. I'll share my screen quickly. Yes, we are there. Okay, who wants to read? Okay, Prashanti Mataji, yeah. So what we do is, Mataji, we read 5 verses at a time, if that much time you have. Yes, 171, 171.
Mataji, first one, can I read after you?
Yeah. यद्यपि कहार ममता बहुजने हया
यद्यपि कहारा ममत बहुजने कहया
प्रीति स्वभावे कहते को न भावोदया
प्रीति स्वभावे कहते को नो भावोदया. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Although one has affection for many persons, different types of ecstatic love awaken according to the nature of one's personal relationships.
Very sweetly says that it is not because we chastise, it means we are very close, and if we give respect, it means we are not so close. But based on different extent, with different natures, different kind of relationship or rasa awakens, accordingly we treat like that. He very nicely says. Next one, Mataji, 172.
तुम्हारा देहि
read.
तुम्हारा देह तुम्ही कर विवत्स ज्ञाना तुम्हारा देह आमरे लागे अमृत समाना. Translation by Prabhat Ki Jai. You consider your body dangerous and awful, but I think that your body is like nectar.
So sweet. Now we know that Sanatan Goswami had contaminated some kind of disease when he was coming from Bengal to Vrindavan because he was coming via Jharikanda forest. And then because of that, so much of pus and so much of sores were on his body, and it was very painful to look. Also, it was ugly, and it was emanating pus apparently, and blood and pus, and it was smelling badly, and it was looking badly, and it was personally very painful. And that was the reason Sanatan Goswami wanted to commit suicide, because he was feeling that this body is of no use. What's the point of keeping this body and giving trouble to others? Now Mahaprabhu every day was visiting Siddha Bakula, every day he was giving prasad, every day they were talking, and now he comes closer to, he embraces Sanatana Goswami, and that time Sanatana Goswami feels it's too much. You are the Supreme Lord, and how it's so dirty, and you, without any hesitation, you are embracing me. So at that time, Mahaprabhu is replying, see, you consider your body very dangerous and awful. Dangerous because it is a disease that can be contaminated, and awful, but it's like nectar. Now, who can say? Only the Supreme Lord can say like this. Otherwise, we human beings, how much ever we may be good to others, we may be very friendly, but we'll not tell nectar, or we don't mean also nectar, because we really want to be careful about ourselves. It's only the Supreme Lord who can take this step. So, next one, Mataji.
అప్రాకృత దేహ తోమర మాతాజీ కొంచెం
Yeah, can.
స్క్రోల్
Oh,
మాతాజీ
yeah,
లిటిల్
can.
స్క్రోల్
Apra,
అప్ మాతాజీ.
scroll up. Sorry,
ఎస్
sorry.
మాతాజీ.
Sure. Yeah,
ఎస్
can.
మాతాజీ.
Mm.
अप्राकृत देह तुम्हारा प्राकृत का भूनया तथापि तुम्हारा तते प्राकृत बुद्धि हया. Translation by Prabhat Ki Jai. Actually, your body is transcendental, never material. You are thinking of it, however, in terms of a material conception. Shall I read purport,
Yes,
Mataji?
yes, yes, yes.
Purport by Srila Prabhat Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura gives his opinion about how a person completely engaged in the service of the Lord transforms his body from material to transcendental. He says, a pure devotee engaged in the service of the Lord Krishna has no desire for his personal sense gratification, and thus he never accepts anything for that purpose. He desires only the happiness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and because of his ecstatic love for Krishna, he acts in various ways. Karmis think that the material body is an instrument for material enjoyment, and that is why they work extremely hard. A devotee, however, has no such desires. A devotee always engages wholeheartedly in the service of the Lord, forgetting about bodily conceptions and bodily activities. The body of a karmi is called material because the karmi, being too absorbed in material activities, he is always eager to enjoy material facilities. But the body of a devotee who tries his best to work very hard for the satisfaction of Krishna by fully engaging in the Lord's service must be accepted as transcendental. Whereas karmis are interested only in the personal satisfaction of their senses, devotees work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one who cannot distinguish between devotion and ordinary karma may mistakenly consider the body of a pure devotee material. One who does not commit such a mistake. Non devotees who consider devotional activities and ordinary material activities to be on the same level are offenders to the chanting of the transcendental holy name of the Lord. A pure devotee knows that a devotee's body, being always transcendental, is just suitable for rendering service to the Lord. A devotee on the topmost platform of devotional service always humbly thinks that he is not rendering any devotional service. He thinks that he is poor in devotional service and that his body is material. On the other hand, those known as the Sahajiyas foolishly think that their material bodies are transcendental. Because of this, they are always bereft of the association of pure devotees, and thus they cannot behave like Vaishnavas. Observing the defects of the Sahajiyas, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakura has sung as follows in his book Kalyana Kalpataru.
You can read the English.
Yes, Mataji. If I think I'm a Vaishnava, I shall look forward to receiving respect from others And if the desire for fame and reputation pollutes my heart, certainly I shall go to hell. By giving others the remnants of my food, I shall consider myself superior and shall be burdened with the weight of false pride. Therefore, always remaining your surrendered disciple, I shall not accept worship from anyone else. Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraj Goswami has written, Premera Swabhava Yaha Premera Sambandha Se Mane Krishnamora Nahi Prema Gandha. Wherever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, the natural symptoms are that the devotee does not think himself a devotee, but always thinks that he is not even a drop of love for Krishna. So he has not
So,
even a drop of love for Krishna.
so basically, uh, the discussion is like when Mahaprabhu is telling Chaitanya Sanatana Goswami that your body is very transcendental. So that is the reason in the initial only we had the discussion where Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami that your body is my property. I have to do so many things from your body. So you cannot destroy others' property. That is how much Mahaprabhu considers Chaitanya Sanatana Goswami's body. So here Prabhupada writes that how a Vaishnava's body, when it is completely engaged in the service of the Lord, is completely transcendental. It cannot be considered as ordinary. One thing that is from my view, like if I'm seeing a devotee who is a Vaishnava, I should consider their body as transcendental if they're always engaged in transcendental service of the Supreme Lord. But I cannot consider for myself that yes, I am a Vaishnava, I need to get respect. My body is very transcendental. You need to respect my. That is not a Vaishnava quality. A Vaishnava considers himself very low. He feels that I am useless, and feels that I don't have even a drop of love for Krishna. That is what Prabhupada writes here. He feels like that because that is what Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami has written in until 20.28. He feels, actually, he feels. It's not even just lip service. But so those who think are not Vaishnavas, but those who condemn other Vaishnavas' bodies are also not Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava is one who consider other Vaishnava as whose their body is transcendental. And Prabhupada also writes the mentality of Sahajiyas, where they feel their ordinary body as transcendental. So it's a very complicated thing. But if we always consider to give respect to other Vaishnavas, then we are on the safe side. Next one, Mataji.
प्राकृत है लिथा तुम्हारा वपुनारि उपक्षिते भद्रा भद्र वस्तु ज्ञान नाही के प्रकृते. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Even if your body were material, I still could not neglect it, for the material body should be considered neither good nor bad. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, since you are a Vaishnava, your body is spiritual, not material. Therefore, you should not consider this body to be subjected to superior or inferior qualities. Moreover, I am a sannyasi. Therefore, even if your body was material, a sannyasi should see no distinction between a good body and a bad body.
So it is always told that there is something called as Kanishta Adhikaris, Madhyama Adhikaris, and Uttama Adhikaris. Sannyasis belong to Uttama Adhikaris, and there is no like uh, uh, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gabhihastini we have in the Bhagavad Gita, where they consider the Brahmana, the dog eater, or an animal also on the equal level. So if Lord being a sannyasi in the garb of a sannyasi, he cannot there is no question of distinguishing between good body and bad body. Moreover, he said, so even if you feel that your body is not transcendent, then also it's very important for me what to speak of your body otherwise, because you are a devotee, your body is transcendental. Even if you feel it is material, for me I cannot make any distinction, because Uttamadhikari cannot make any distinction. A Madhyamadhikari, he has the rules that he makes friendship with the equals, he gives respect to the superiors, he cares for the juniors. So that is there for the Madhyamadhikari. But for Uttamadhikari, who is on sannyasi level, he cannot make any distinctions actually. Yes, Mataji, last one. You are there?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Kim Bhadram Kim Abhadram Va Dvaidasya Vastunah Kiyat Vachoditam Tad Anatram Anritam Manasadhyayatam Cha. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Anything not considered in relationship to Krishna should be understood to be illusion, Maya. None of the illusions uttered by words or conceived in the mind are factual. Because illusion is not factual, there is no distinction between what we think is good and what we think is bad. When we speak of the absolute truth, such speculations do not apply. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.28.4.
So it is very clear. Only when it is connected with Krishna, it is real. When it is not connected with Krishna, it is illusion. Sometimes we have that, no, but I feel, you know what? There is no question of I feeling, you feeling. Even if it is connected with Krishna, it is Krishna. It is transcendental, or it is to be considered. Otherwise, everything other than connected with Krishna is illusion or Maya. That is the very straight distinction which has been mentioned here. Yes, Krishnamurti Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी।
Dandavat pranams Prabhuji.
द्वैते भद्र भद्र ज्ञान सभा मनोधर्म ये भाला ये मंडा ये सब ब्रह्म। Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada today. In the material world, conceptions of good and bad are all mental speculations. Therefore, saying this is good and that is bad, this is bad, is all a mistake. Shall I read purport, Matan?
Yes, yes.
Purport by Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the absolute truth, every existing with different varieties of energies. When one is absorbed in the illusory energy of Krishna and cannot understand Krishna, one cannot ascertain what is good for him and what is bad. Conceptions of good and bad are all imaginations or mental speculations. When one forgets that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, he wants to enjoy the material world through different plans. At that time, he distinguishes between the material plans and that are good and those that are bad. Actually, however, they are all false.
So it is very clear that the material world also is Krishna's energy only, and by default, uh, like it is told that living in this material world is like swimming downstream. Swimming downstream, naturally, automatically we swim. So by default, we get engulfed with the material energy. It consumes us. Only when we think of Krishna, or when we want to be Krishna conscious, it is like swimming upstream. It requires a whole lot of energy, consistent energy, constantly. So by default, otherwise we are engulfed in lots material energy, and that time we feel this is good, this is not good. That was Prahlad Maharaj's first teaching to his friends, that he did not understand what is this. This is good, that is not good. That is, he cannot understand what is distinction only, good and bad. Everything is good because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. But when we are engulfed, then we like. I don't like him. I don't like her, or I like this is my favorite. I think this is correct. I think that is not correct. We have, these are all, they fall everything under mental speculation. There is no reality. Only when it is connected directly with absolute truth, then it is then there is it is worth, it is something spiritual. But otherwise, good bad, everything is same.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
But there is a small doubt.
Yes.
In this material world, yes, if you lost anything else,
Huh?
if you lost anything,
If you lose,
yes. So at that time, how, as a being a devotee, how we have to take that?
If you lose means you mean the items of people.
Items.
We have to
Any
search,
price, of course, yeah, money maybe, or jewels.
We have to search. Yeah, no, we need to do that. See, point is like this, Prabhuji. See, we need to do the needful when we are in this material world. Okay,
Yes.
there is no doubt. But
Okay.
when we are Krishna conscious, no, we
Yes.
connect it with the Lord. We connect it. We don't get completely disheartened and completely lost when something is lost. We
Yes.
understand that we need to search, or we need to do the needful, but we
Okay.
understand, but we are connected with the Lord. That's the whole point.
Okay.
We need to live like a normal person only. What happens, because we are conditioned, na? Even
Yes.
if we want to be Krishna conscious, we cannot be 100% Krishna conscious immediately. We
Okay.
will be on the path. It will take time, and Over period of time only we'll understand things as they are. Till then, what we are Vaidhi Sadhana Bhaktas, we live as regular people only, but we are Krishna conscious. We constantly think, we understand, we connect things for what they are. Like that.
Okay.
We don't get lost when things or people we lose. Like that.
Okay.
Point is that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next one.
Read.
Okay. विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनिचैव शपाके च पंडिता समदर्शिनः. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. The humble sages, by virtue of the true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Purport: this is the quotation from the Bhagavad Gita 5.18.
So this is the vision of a Uttamadhikari or a sannyas. Next one, Prabhuji.
ज्ञान विज्ञान तृप्तात्मा कुतोस्तो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. One who is fully satisfied in knowledge obtained and practically applied in life, who is always determined and fixed in his spiritual position, who completely controls his senses, and who sees pebbles, stones, and gold on the same level, he is understood to be a perfect yogi. This is also a quotation from the Bhagavad Gita 6.8.
Basically, the pure devotees of the Lord do not make any distinctions. Prabhuji, next one.
Next. Amita sannyasi amara samadrushti dharma chandana pankite amara nanahaya sama. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. Since I am in the renounced order, my duty is to make no distinctions and be equipped. My knowledge must be equally disposed toward sandalwood pulp and dirty mud. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes. So this is the last two shlokas.
Hello, Ray, Samay, Ray.
Last two shlokas. Last two shlokas was mainly to tell that the sannyasis or uttamadhikaris don't make any distinctions. So now in the purport, Mahaprabhu says that me being in the sannyasi order, for me sandalwood pulp and dirty mud are same. See what kind of equipoised consciousness that requires for that it to be. Yes, Prabhuji, you can read the purport.
Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes.
Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. It is the duty of a sannyasi, a person in the renounced order, to be always equipped, and that is also the duty of a learned man and a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, a sannyasi, or a learned person has no conception of the material world. In other words, he has no conception of anything materially important. He has no desire to use sandalwood pulp for sense gratification, nor does sense gratification make him hate mud. Acceptance or rejection of material things is not the concern of a sannyasi. A Vaishnava or a learned person, an advanced devotee has no desire to enjoy or reject anything. His only duty is to accept whatever is favorable for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. A Vaishnava should be indifferent to material enjoyment and renunciation and should always hanker for the spiritual life of rendering service to the Lord. Super.
So that's the whole point. See, even if we are not so much elevated, when we are consciously and constantly practicing for some time very sincerely, naturally and automatically the element of detachment comes to our consciousness. And so things don't bewilder us so much. We don't get overwhelmed by the situation. We do get, because we are in this world, things can happen up and down, but that being overwhelmed or being too much disturbed is very much reduced over a period of time, because we understand for things what they are. That is what Mahaprabhu is telling here. Prabhuji, next one.
Ye lagi toma tyaga karite na yuyaya grana buddhi kariyadi nija dharma yaya. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. For this reason, I cannot reject you. If I hated you, I would deviate my deviated from my occupational duty. Hare
So there
Krishna
is,
Mataji.
Mahaprabhu says, in any sense, there is no question of me hating you, because Sanatana Goswami says that, no, my body is so dirty, no, my body is so dirty, please, please, don't do this. So for that, he says that actually I love you. And it is not even I am just making up, because I cannot make any distinctions, and I don't make any distinctions. Shri Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Dandavats.
हरे हरिदासा कहे प्रभु ये कहिला तुम्ही यही बहिया प्रताना नाही माने आमी. Translation or translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Haridasa said, my dear Lord, what you have spoken deals with external formalities. I do not accept it.
Okay, let's see what Haridas Thakur has to say. Next one, Mataji.
4.182. आमासा बादामे ये करिया चंगीरा करा
Angikara.
अंगीकारा दीना दयालु गुण तुम्हारा ताहा ते प्रचारा. Translation of Prabhupada ki jai. My Lord, we are all fallen, but you have accepted us due to your attribute of being merciful to the fallen. This is well known all over the world.
So, Haridas Thakur has a very beautiful thing. He's like, it is not that we are elevated, so you are not making distinction or accepting, because you are Patita Pavana. Patita Pavana Hetu, Toma Avatar. Your avatar is only for the for most fallen, and we are most fallen, and so your mercy is towards us. That is how it is. Like that, Haridas Thakur says. Vaishnavas are very good at putting across. Yes, yes, next one. Yeah.
प्रभु हसी कहे सुना हरिदास सनातना तत्व कहितो मा विषय ऐचा मोरा मना. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, listen Haridasa and Sanatana, now I am speaking the truth about how my mind is attached to you.
So he says that don't think like that. See, I'll tell you now. Honestly, I'll tell you how actually I'm so much attached to you. Like that, he says. Let's see, next one.
तुम्हारे ललया पापाना के लाला का अभिमाना लाला केरा लालिया नहे दोषा परिज्ञाना. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Haridasa and Sanatana, I think of you as my little boys to be maintained by me. The maintainer never takes seriously any faults of the maintained. Purport. When a father maintains a child and the child is maintained by the father never takes seriously the faults of the child. Even if they actually are faults, the father does not mind them.
So sweet is the relationship between Supreme Lord and the devotees. He says that I consider you as my children. And so there is no question of you making any mistake or I being affected by your body or by your words. So that is the love which Mahaprabhu has for his devotees actually. Next one.
अपना रिहाया मोरा अमान्य समाना तोमा सबारे करून मुनि बालक abhimana. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I always think of myself as deserving no respect, but because of the affection, I always consider you to be like my little children.
So he says that this is the really I am telling you. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, is the Supreme Lord. He is actually telling. So, and I, Pranadapi Sunichana, he is following Pranadapi Sunichana Taroreva Saishnuna, Amanena Manadena Kirtanaya Sadhari, because he has come down in this age of Kali as in the garb of a devotee, who is the Supreme Lord himself otherwise. So he says, I deserve no respect, but I consider you as my own children. Gandhimati Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
This is Antya 4.186. Matara yeche balakera midya lagi gaya prana nahi janme aramaha sukha paya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Jai. Hare Krishna. When a child passes stool and urine and that touch the body of the mother never hates the child. On the contrary, she takes much pleasure in cleansing him.
That we all mothers can very well relate that when child passes urine or stool, the mother doesn't get bothered. Oh, she doesn't put the child away. She immediately picks it up picks him or her up and cleans him and gets great pleasure also actually. So Mahaprabhu is saying that even if a body is sold, has so much whatever is oozing out of your body, because I consider you as my own child, I don't, it's not, there is no question of me hating you at all. Actually, I feel your body is like nectar. Next one, Mataji.
187. लाल्यमेद्य ललकेरा चंदन समबाय सनातनेरा केलड हमार ग्रहण न उपजया. Translation: The stool and urine of the maintained child appear like sandalwood pulp to the mother. Similarly, when the whole moisture oozing from the source of Sanadana touches my body, I have no hatred for him.
That is the Supreme Lord. We can't even imagine actually. We really cannot imagine. He is like the pus that is oozing out of your source from your body. When it touches my body, when I embrace you, I do not feel like she. It doesn't feel at all. He actually does not feel like that. He says, because my love is like a father to a child. A child, if the child passes urine or stool on the parent's body, the parent doesn't like feel very hatred towards the child. There is no question of me feeling hatred towards you at all. It's a very supreme position which we cannot imitate nor we can connect actually. Next one.
4.188. हरिदास कहे तुम्ही ईश्वर दया माया तुम्हारा गंभीर हृदय बुझान न आया. Translation: Haridasa Thakura said, My dear sir, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are most merciful towards us. No one can understand what is within your deeply affectionate heart.
So he says it's impossible. Just because you are the Supreme Lord, this is possible for you. Otherwise, it is not able to comprehend by anybody else. Next one, Mataji.
189. Vasudeva Kalat Kusti Tate Anga Kida Maya Tare Alingana Kailahana Sataya. Translation: You embrace the You embrace the leper Vasudeva, whose body was fully infected by worms. You are so kind that in spite of his condition, you embraced him.
So previously also Mahaprabhu has shown this his magnanimity this way. That is when he was in the South India Yatra and he goes to Kurma Kshetra. There he meets a person called as Vasudeva, and his name only had become leper Vasudeva because he had leprosy, and because he had leprosy at that time, lepers were kept outside the city limits because it was a very contaminated disease. And we know leprosy means nowadays there is a cure for that, and so much lepers we can't see. But there was a point like 60s, 70s, and so many lepers all around the place. What happens is slowly, it starts to wither away. The body starts to like vegetable for a long time. If it is what happens, it starts to rot. No, like that, the body starts to rot, and piece by piece of the body, like it just goes away. So like that leper Vasudeva, his body was all soiled and all piece. It was like a vegetable. If it is there for carrot for a long time, if it is there, what all black comes and soft, it becomes so dirty. Like that, his body had become. And in that source, there are worms. And Vasudeva, he was another level. What he used to do is the worms, when he moved, so many worms were there. When he used to move, the worms would fall down. He'll pick them and put him on his body. But he's like, this body is useless to me because it is completely infected. At least if it is useful to you, you at least make use of those. Like that was the consciousness of Vasudeva. Now what happens is Mahaprabhu goes to South India, and this Vasudeva gets to know that, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. And when he comes to meet him, with great difficulty comes to Kurmakshetra, and he says, and somebody told that, you know what, yeah, when sannyasi had come, he did all kirtan and he was very chanting, dancing, everything we had, and he has left. And Vasudeva was feeling so sad, so sad. But for the first time, Mahaprabhu, he goes 40 kilometers ahead, takes a U-turn, comes back to Kurmakshetra, and Vasudeva meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that time, what had Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He embraced Vasudeva. So that particular thing has been mentioned here, that you embrace the lever Vasudeva, whose body is fully infected by worms, and immediately Vasudeva his body becomes completely youthful at that time. In the Kurma Kshetra it had become. So that particular incident is repeated here. Next one.
I was
190.
just going to ask you, Mataji, that,
Ah.
that when Mahaprabhu embraces him, Mataji, I was just about to ask you that when Mahaprabhu embraces this devotee, like, whose body is so decomposed, don't they become like, don't they get better?
Only Vasudeva got better. He became perfect.
Yes, but what was Sanatana Mataji? He embraced him also.
Sanatana also will get better. You see next verse. Sanatana will also become perfect.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes,
190.
Mataji.
ಆಲಿಂಗಿಯ ಕೈಲಾತಾರ ಕಂದರ್ಪ ಸಮಾಂಗ ಬುಜ್ಹಿತೇನ ಪರಿತೋಮರ ಕೃಪಾರ ತರಂಗ. Translation: By embracing him, you made his body as beautiful as that of Cupid. We cannot understand the waves of your mercy. Hare
And
Krishna.
by that time, what happened to Vasudeva? It is Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha. Your body is Kandarpa Koti and his body became Kandarpa Koti. That is your mercy, like that. Haridas says. Who is that next? Swati Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Hare Bol.
प्रभु का है वैष्णव देह प्रकृत कभुनाया अप्रकृत देह भक्तेरचित आनंद माया। Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the body of a devotee is never material. It is considered to be transcendental, full of spiritual bliss. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to convince Sri Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami that a devotee whose life is dedicated to the service of the Lord is never material conception, because he is always engages in the service of the Lord. His body is transcendental and full of spiritual bliss. One should never consider his body, just as one should never consider the body of the deity worshipped in the temple to be made of stone or wood. Factually, the deity is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without a doubt. The injections of the Padma Purana therefore state, Arche Vishnu Shila Dhir Gurushu Naranmatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Yasya Va Naraka Saha. Narakisa. That person is a resident of hell who consider the deity worshipped in the temple to be stone or wood, who consider the spiritual master as an ordinary man, and who thinks that the body of Vaishnava fully dedicated to the service of the Lord belongs to the material modes of nature.
No, again, so the whole, it started with a discussion that how a Vaishnava's body cannot be considered as material, is transcendental. So it went on with all other examples. And Mahaprabhu also explains that how I actually consider you as my own child. And then it comes back to the summary again, telling that even the Puranas emphasize on the same thing, that Vaishnava who is dedicated to Supreme Lord, his body is never material. Mataji, next one.
Yes, Mataji. दीक्षा काले भक्त कारे आत्मा समर्पणा से काले कृष्ण तारे करे आत्मा समा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders unto the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as himself.
So at the time only of Diksha, the person should be very surrendered, and after Diksha also, you should remember that I had surrendered. I need to follow on that path in that same consciousness. That Krishna accepts all his Krishna accept him as his own. See, that is the level a person actually gets. 193.
Sehi deha kare tara chidananda maya aprakrita dehe tanra charana bhajaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the devotee's body is thus transformed into spiritual existence, the devotee in the transcendental body renders service to the lotus feet of the Lord.
So then what is the Krishna accepts him as his own, and the devotee completely surrenders himself to the Lord and completely and renders service to the lotus feet of the Supreme. Next one.
Yes, ma'am. Martyo yada yaktakta samasta karma nivedatma vichikshrito me tadamritat tvam pratipadyayam no mayatma bhuyaya cha kalpate vai. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The living entity who is subjected to birth and death attains immortality. When he gives up all material activities, dedicate his life to the execution of my order and gets according to my directions. In this way, he becomes fit to enjoy the spiritual bliss derived from exchanging loving mellows with me. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes, the point is when a devotee completely surrenders to the will of the Supreme Lord, then his body, there is no question of birth and death again. It is immortal, means it's always under the supreme shelter of the Supreme Lord. And he is completely, what is that, in this way becomes fit to enjoy the spiritual bliss derived from exchanging loving mellows. He is always in the transcendental relationship with the Supreme. Purport you read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.29.34. At the time of initiation, a devotee gives up all his material conceptions. Therefore, being in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is situated on the transcendental platform. Thus, having attained knowledge and the spiritual platform, he always engages in the service of spiritual body of Krishna. When one is freed from material connections in this way, his body immediately becomes spiritual and Krishna accepts his service. However, Krishna does not accept anything from a person with a material conception of life. When a devotee no longer has any desires for material sense gratification in his spiritual identity, he engages in the service of the Lord, for his dormant spiritual consciousness awakens. This awakening of spiritual consciousness makes his body spiritual, and thus he becomes fit to render service to the Lord. Karmis may consider the body of a devotee material, but factually it is not, for a devotee has no conception of material enjoyment. If one thinks that the body of a pure devotee is material, he is an offender, for that is a Vaishnava aparada. In this connection, one should consult Srila Sanatana Goswami, Bruhad Bhagavatamrita 1.3.45 and 2.3.139.
The point is, so only when we see the spiritual masters, the sannyasis, we feel, apparently we see that they are doing the similar works like we also do. They also eat, they also drink, they also sleep, but their body is actually transcendental. And if we consider them as a material body, we are doing Vaishnava aparadh. The point is, at the time of India, so that position, if you consider it as a position, that position is achievable for each one of us if we are on this transcendental path, and if we happen to take initiation from a spiritual master. And at that time, depending on the mood of surrender, how much we are, to that extent Krishna showers his mercy, the Guru showers his mercy. And at that time, when we use our body in completely in the service of the Lord, then that body also becomes transcendental. Then that the body also is not material. But it all depends on the sincerity and dedication of the disciple, and the consciousness, constant consciousness that is there in the disciple's mind. So that with that consciousness, if he is continuing his service after initiation till he is around in this material world, then when he is there itself, his body is considered as spiritual. So that position, if we consider it as a position, is available to each one of us if we consciously are sincere to practice Krishna consciousness, with the required whatever rules and regulations, if we say that way. So everyone gets that opportunity, actually. Everyone gets that opportunity. So that is what has been told. Next one, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Sanatane dehe Krishna khadu upajana atma parikshite ihan dila pathana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna somehow or other manifested these itching sores on the body of Sanatana Goswami and sent him here to test me.
So here Mahaprabhu is telling that Sanatana Goswami had sores on his body to test me. That is what Mahaprabhu is telling here. Next, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Dandavats.
घृणा करी आलिंगना न करी आत्मयबे कृष्ण तानी अपराधा दंड पै पै पायिताम
Tamatabe.
पायितामतबे. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If I had hated Sanatan Goswami and had not embraced him, I would certainly have been chastised for offenses to Krishna.
He says that he is the superior devotee. I need to consider his body as very, very important for me, and so I embraced him. And if I don't embrace him, Krishna will not like me. Like that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling. Next one.
197 परिषदा देह येई न हय दुर्गंध प्रथम दिवसे पैलून चतुहंसा गंधा. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sanatan Goswami is one of the associates of Krishna. There could not be any bad odor from his body. On the first day I embraced him, I smelled the aroma of chatushma, a mixture of sandalwood pulp, camphor, aguru, and musk.
And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, he is not making up the stories. He is actually telling. Purport.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. An associate of the Lord is one whose body is fully engaged in the service of the Lord. A materialist might see Sanatan Goswami's body as being full of itching sores that excluded foul moisture and a bad smell. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, said that actually the aroma of his body was the excellent scent of a mixture of sandalwood pulp, camphor, musk, and aguru. In the Garuda Purana, this mixture, which is called Chatushma, is described as follows. Kasturyarika dvau bhagau chatvaras chandanasya tu kunkumasya trayaschaika shashina syat chatu samam. 2 parts of musk, 4 parts of sandalwood, 3 parts of aguru or saffron, and 1 part of camphor, when mixed together, form chatushma. The aroma of chatushma is very pleasing. It is also mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, 6th Vilasa.
So it's actually Mahaprabhu is smelling all that. That is their level. We are, to understand also, it's getting so difficult. Yes, Mataji.
Hare
Next
Krishna.
one.
Yeah, 198. वस्तुतः प्रभु यबे कैला आलिंगना तारा स्पर्शे गंधा हैला चंदने रसमा. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In fact, however, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced the body of Sanatan Goswami, by the Lord's touch alone, there was a manifested a fragrance exactly like that of sandalwood pulp.
Yeah.
119. प्रभु कहे सनातन न मनिह दुख तोमार आलिंगने आमी पाई बड़ सुख. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, my dear Sanatana, do not be aggrieved, for when I embrace you, I actually get great pleasure.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami is feeling always very bad. Every single day Mahaprabhu comes and embraces him, and every time he feels so miserable, so miserable, so miserable. Naturally, even if we are dirty to see, show others, it's difficult. If they come and see, it's another level. If they come and touch, it's another level. If they embrace, it's another level altogether. And Sanatana Goswami feeling so bad and always so felt. For this reason, at least I want to give up my body, because I cannot give so much pain to Mahaprabhu's body. And today Mahaprabhu is clarifying, actually this is what the situation of, this is my relationship with you, this is how I feel, and this is actually I feel such a dushma smell when I touch your body. So there is no question of a feeling that like that I didn't feel at all. Honestly, Mahaprabhu is expressing himself, showing his love to Sanatana Goswami. Yeah, Mataji.
ये वत्सर तुम्ही इहा रह आमसने वत्सर राही तुम्हारे आमी पठाईमु वृंदावने. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Stay with me at Jagannath Puri for 1 year, and after that I shall send you to Vrindavana.
No, he says you stay for next 1 year. Very good. Dr.
Thank
K.
you.
Karpagavalli Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji.
And
Antya Lila 2.0. Erabali Punan Tantre Kaila Aligana Tandu Gela Anga Hila Suvarnera Sama. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again embraced Sanatana Goswami. Thus, immediately Sanatana's source disappeared and his entire body resembled the color of gold.
Hari, he was immediately, his body became beautiful. All the souls just went off. Next one, Mataji.
Anymore.
202. Deki Haridasa Mani Kaila Chamaskara Prabhu Rekahina E Bangi He Tumara. Translation: Prabhupada Kije, seeing Haridasa Thakura, greatly astonished and told the Lord, "This is your pastime."
आपका लीला है. This is your लीला. This is your pastime. He says. Next one.
Text for 203. Sahi jari kanda kaldera pani tumi kevo ila sahi pani lakshya inhara sandu upajaila. Translation with Prabhupada Kije. My dear Lord, you made Sanatana Goswami drink the water of Charikanda and you actually generated the consequent itching source on his body.
You only made him drink. You only made the source. You only now remove the source. It's all your Leela. It's all your manifestations. Like that, he says. Next one.
Text 204. Kandukari Pariksha Kairile Sanatane Yehi Leela Baga Tomare Jahana Hijani. Translation: after the causing these issues to examine Sanatana Goswami, no one can understand your transcendental pastime.
So you were just kind of testing Sanatana Goswami. Who can understand you? Like that, he says. Yes.
Text 205. Danke Alingiya Prabhu Kela Nijalaya Prabhu Raguni Kahi Dunhi Kana Prema Maya. Translation by Prabhupada Kije. After embracing both Haridasa Thakura and Sanatana Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his residence. Then Haridasa Thakura and Sanatana Goswami, in great ecstatic love, began to describe the Lord's transcendental attributes.
So then Mahaprabhu goes back and Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur, they are conscious, they are not able to understand what actually happened, what he spoke. They were really immersed in the love of Lord Chaitanya and they were constantly, it is naturally it happens. So some guests come and go also, we'll be talking about them. Now the Supreme Lord is only around, he is showing so much of mercy and they were consciously, constantly discussing about it. Sorry Chandana Mataji, you could not talk tomorrow or next, okay, next class.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Dandavad, Granth Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. We stop here. Huh?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji.
Oh, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Mataji,
Mataji.
for
Mataji.
happy ending this week.
Yeah, very happy. We all are very happy.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Feel happy Sanatana's wounds healed, Mataji.
Yeah.